The charge against the Pope's butler was undoubtedly serious, one of aggravated theft. But the allegations that the Vatican found itself embroiled in as a result of the butler's leaking of documents were even more serious indeed. The butler has pleaded guilty. He has been sentenced to 18 months. But the allegations against the Vatican will not go away yet. Paolo Gabriele was the Pope's most trusted servant. He helped dress the pontiff, he served his food, his role perhaps the nearest a non-cleric can have to the heart of the Vatican's power. But what he saw from that unique vantage point led Gabriele to conclude that the Pope was being deceived, even manipulated, by powerful figures in the upper echelons of the Catholic Church. He began copying and hoarding sensitive documents, and then he leaked them to a journalist, Gianluigi Nuzzi. The result was a best-selling book, lifting the lid on allegations of power struggles among the senior cardinals and apparent reluctance to tackle corruption and nepotism. In the Vatican court, Gabriele denied the theft of the papers, but accepted he had deceived the Pope. The judge asked him whether he felt guilty or innocent. He replied, "The thing I feel strongly inside is that I acted exclusively out of love, deep inside, for the Church of Christ and for its visible leader. I do not feel like a thief." The prosecution had pressed for Gabriele to be given a 3-year jail term. Instead, the judges imposed a far more lenient penalty.
In the name of His Holiness Benedict XVI, gloriously reigning, the tribunal invoking the Holy Trinity pronounces the following sentence. It finds the defendant Paolo Gabriele guilty of the crime provided for in Article 404 of the Penal Code for abusing the trust posed in him as part of his job and stealing things to which he had access to because of that trust posed in him.
This trial was concluded after just 4 days of court hearings in a courtroom deep inside the Vatican, off limits to the general public. Nevertheless, by Vatican standards, that's still a show of remarkable openness. But there are those who believe that this has barely scratched the surface of a much bigger problem that Pope Benedict now has to grapple with.
Paolo Gabriele has said he's the lonely culprit, and the defense didn't make great protestations during the process, and the judge didn't want to elaborate on the many mysteries which still remain.
For now, the Pope's butler remains under house arrest. His lawyers have indicated they will not be appealing the verdict. Informed speculation suggests that the Pope will forgive and pardon his former trusted manservant. But then the pontiff will have to turn to the wider issues. In the short term, the trial has caused serious embarrassment for Vatican administrators, but it may yet prove an opportunity for the Pope to impose new discipline on his cardinals and their officials. One of the central characters in this whole affair was Cardinal Bertone. He's the Secretary of State here at the Vatican. It's a role which has the equivalent status perhaps of Prime Minister. And according to the documents that were leaked by the Pope's butler, it appeared that Cardinal Bertone was doing his utmost to cover up corruption. Indeed, tried to silence a cardinal who tried to raise the issue. And yet Bertone, it seems, enjoys the full confidence of Pope Benedict. So it seems very little will change, at least in the short term.